I, 26F, am suddenly catching my husband, 28M, in small, inconsequential lies. It is making me into a paranoid person. What do I do? Hi all. My, 26F, husband, 28M, and I have been married for about 6 months and were together for about a year and a half before that. We had no formal engagement and just had a courthouse marriage. Outside of work we spend most of our time together. We have a happy relationship and each of us have done a lot of work to better ourselves in the time we've known one another, as independent people and as partners. The problem is, in the past month or so I keep catching my husband in small, petty lies. I have not been trying to catch him lying. It just keeps happening. The first instance that I know of is when the dog peed on the floor and he cleaned it up and told me the wet spot on the rug was from him spilling his water. I didn't question it. Why would I think he was lying? I am not even really upset about this particular lie because he was definitely trying to keep the peace. I am not a dog person. He is. The dog and I are friendly housemates but we're not one another's favorite creatures. What makes me upset about this lie is that I found pea-soaked rags a few hours later and, puzzled, asked point blank if he had lied about the dog peeing. He said no. Why? And I said there are just a bunch of pea-soaked rags in the trash. And he said shit. I forgot about those. Yeah, she did. Sorry. The doubling down on a lie bothers me a lot, but I let it go. However, since then there have been multiple little things. He's asked me to remind him to put money aside for bills. I ask him and he lies that he's done it. He corrects himself before I can say anything, and says well no, that's a lie. Not yet, but I will. He has asked me to help him stop smoking and I try to help monitor it. I note that he's smoked an entire pack in a day and he says no, I didn't when I was with him when he bought the pack. I have to remind him that I know because of the empty pack of cigarettes that that's not true and he concedes. This morning he said he was going to use a nicotine patch and make an effort to stop smoking again, and he didn't. All of the patches are still there in their individual wrappers. There are some other very small things that are slipping my mind, but I've noticed that this is starting to become an issue and it never was before. I feel as though I understand why he's lying. I feel that he has subconsciously assigned an authoritative role to me. It is similar to how children lie to their parents to keep them off their backs. I do not want to be in this role. I check in about these things because I've been asked to in order to help him. I ask him to help remind me of things too and I don't begrudge him those reminders. So I'm seeking advice for two things. The first is, how do I make my husband feel as though I am his equal and his partner, and avoid triggering a defensive dishonesty, while respecting his wishes of helping him remember things? And the second is a little more dire. Because of the little lies, I have begun to feel a little bit of confusion, unease, and paranoia toward him. For instance, I shouldn't think to check the box of nicotine patches to see if he lied to me. That's paranoid, and I know it. But I can't stop thinking that if he is unbothered by peppering little fibs throughout the day, he will build up to more consequential lies. I do not want to distrust my husband and I never have before, but this is causing me to take him at his word a little bit less. He has never cheated on me nor I him, and that has never been a suspicion, so that isn't an underlying pressure point. I don't think that confronting him about his lying is the way to keep it at bay, quite the opposite. Perhaps fixing the above issue of his view of my role in the relationship will fix the lying altogether. But in the meantime, how do I keep from feeling leery of my partner lying to me? Too long didn't read. My husband lies about little things, mainly things he has asked me to remind him to do. I think it's because I wear the pants in his view and he wants me off his back. How do I restore my role as an equal and how do I nip my feelings of distrust in the bud? Thanks in advance. Update: sorry I don't post much on Reddit and don't know how to add update to the title of the post. I will if someone can help. I didn't think this post would get quite as much traction. I have read everyone's responses here and chose to take the following approach. While it is a harmful habit, I agree with many of you that it does not feel malicious or even intentional, so I very much did not want him to feel bad or as if I was stewing and attacking him. So I chose not to directly mention the lies at all. When he got home from work today, I said, "Hey, I just want to talk to you because I feel I owe you an apology. I think that sometimes when I try to remind you of or hold you to things, it comes across to you as punitive or judgmental. I don't mean to ever be anything but supportive, but I've done a bad job of that. I know that quitting smoking is difficult, and I'm proud of you for trying and for making plans to be healthier. I am here to support you while you try, whatever pace that may take. I also want to say that I think that my reminding you of such things has caused a dynamic where you think you are in danger of getting in trouble with me. Sometimes the way you respond reminds me of how I might stave off a parent. I'm sorry for making you feel like that, and for that reason I am going to stop reminding you of chores or goals. I'm your partner and your equal. I have emotions, but you can't get in trouble with me, so if you're feeling that way, please let me know. I love you. To which he responded a way he usually does when he says he's not used to feeling respected. He quietly said, "It's okay. You can still bring it up." But then a moment later more directly said, "I really appreciate that you think about my feelings. Thank you." And we hugged and kissed and went about our day. I will make a conscious effort to loosen up and to not play into the caregiver/reminder role, and we will see if things improve with respect to the lying issue. If it doesn't get better, I will of course have to address it more directly. It sounds like it's not working for you to be in this role of reminding him of things. You might think it's a good idea for you to hold him accountable for stuff like quitting smoking, but it's leading to the lies. I would tell him that you aren't going to remind of things if he is going to lie about it, which means you won't be checking in about his smoking or his nicotine patches. The next time he asks you to remind him of something, tell him no. I'm going to start with the second question first. I do not want to distrust my husband, and I never have before, but this is causing me to take him at his word a little bit less. It's important that you have a high-level conversation with your husband about this, not about the specific lies, but the overall effect they have on the relationship. Trust is so important in a relationship, and I need to be able to trust the things you tell me. These little lies are not major issues on their own, but the fact that there is now a pattern means that it actually is a major issue. I can't be in a relationship where I have paranoia, where I feel like I have to check the things you say to me. I really need you to hear me when I say that these little lies are causing serious damage to my trust in you and our relationship. In order to fix this, I need you to understand that it can't keep happening. So at least for the time being, I can't put myself in a position where I think you're lying to me. I can't help you stop smoking under these circumstances. I want to be able to help you, but I can't do that while I'm constantly questioning the things you say. There needs to be a general moratorium on the types of situations where he lies, as far as possible, while you work on it. Which leads me to your first question. How do I make my husband feel as though I am his equal and his partner, and avoid triggering a defensive dishonesty, while respecting his wishes of helping him remember things? In order to make your husband feel equal in this, I think it is necessary that he comes up with the answer to this question. If you do the legwork of thinking of solutions, proposing solutions, and helping him choose a solution, aren't you still the authority here? You're doing his work for him. So I think it's really important that he take agency for fixing his own issue with lying. My boyfriend started doing this to me near the beginning of our relationship. He was lying to me about going to class because he had dropped his class, but he didn't tell me because he didn't want to confront what he did, and in his head he thought I'd be mad. Eventually he told me, but it was pretty upsetting. I noticed him treating me like a mom in other ways, and he still does sometimes. I basically just tell him straight up, you're treating me like your mom again instead of your partner. Can help you with things if you want, but I'm not going to scold you or put you in timeout. You need to be honest with me and trust me with your problems instead of hiding them. I'm surprised no one mentioned, his lying may not be malicious, per se. People who had verbally or emotionally abusive parents learn to lie reflexively to protect themselves. It's obviously incredibly unhealthy, and it can be unlearned with time, therapy, and trust. That does not excuse his behavior, exactly, but it may provide insight into his motivations. In other words, He's not trying to be deceitful, a bad partner, or otherwise want to sabotage your relationship. It could be a learned response to direct questioning picked up in childhood, a type of stress response. You don't mention anything about his upbringing, so this could be a red herring. But it's worth mentioning to help you frame the behavior as a part of the process of helping him unlearn it. And by helping him I do mean, get him therapy and be a solid, non-parental partner. This is a good point. He does have a good relationship with his family now, but growing up I think it was pretty hard and sometimes bordered on abusive. He left the house and lived in couches while still in high school. I do sometimes hear his mom talking to him on the phone now about growing up and being responsible. I think this does probably have a lot to do with it. I do try to be mindful of that. I think he had very little praise growing up and I tried to give him a lot of positive reinforcement, but I'm sure that confrontation from me does not feel good. Recently found out my 28F husband's 29M sister-in-law 29F is his ex-fiancée. My husband and I have been married since July. He was estranged from his dad/half siblings long before we started dating, so I only met them a few months ago. In October, his grandmother broke her hip, so we went to stay with her to help with her care. It got out that we were staying with her and his dad's family popped in a few times to try and talk to my husband. He got really cold whenever they were around. Eventually, his older half-brother's wife showed up too and insisted on staying over to help. She's spent every second trying to get my husband's attention. At first, I thought she was doing it to try and get him to talk to his dad's side until his grandmother made a comment about how she was a desperate harlot. I asked her about it and she told me about how she used to be engaged to my husband but broke up with him for his half-brother when my husband got disinherited. He was very upfront when we first started dating that he had previously been engaged when he was 22 but refused to explain why they broke up. He just kept insisting their engagement was a mistake. I feel very uncomfortable now around her and I'm not sure what to do. We can't leave because his grandmother needs the help and I really like her, so I wouldn't want to leave her on her own anyway. I did speak to him and he confirmed his grandmother's story but thinks I should just ignore her. Thing is, I can't. All of the sly comments she's been making since she got here suddenly make a lot more sense. So, what do I do? Too long didn't read. My husband and I are living with his grandmother after she broke her hip. His sil has also decided to stay here too to help but has spent all of her time trying to get my husband's attention. Assumed she was trying to get him to reconcile with his family, but his grandmother told me she was his ex-fiancée. My husband wants me to just ignore her but I don't think I can. He just kept insisting their engagement was a mistake. In some fairness, this sounds like an accurate and very tactful way to demonstrate grace by not throwing the witch under the bus. Talk with your husband. Explain how you feel. And see if you can come up with a solution together. What do you want to accomplish? Do you want to verbally dress her down or accost her for hurting the man you love? That will only upset your husband. He is completely and utterly shameless for what she had done. There is nothing you can say that would bother her in the least. This is your husband's family, so defer to him on behaviors. If he thinks it is best to not feed the dumpster fire that is his sister-in-law, then do not feed it. Right now he has the moral high ground and you will only erode that in their minds by letting the sil use your dislike of her as another angle to bother your husband. It sucks, but ignoring her is actually the worst thing you can do to her from her POV. Do not validate her existence in any way. It will crush her. It doesn't feel as good as speaking your mind, but it is far more effective. My 28F partner, 31M, of 7 years is starting to become controlling by always trying to teach me lessons. In the last couple of months it seems like my partner will not do things I ask him to or ask for help with because he's teaching me a lesson. Today I have asked him to please collect a package from the store as for a number of reasons I have been unable to, working too late to collect it, disability, being unwell, simply forgetting due to being too busy with other things, etc. I thought I would ask him if he could collect it to help me out as I'm still unwell and it would do me more harm to make the trip myself. This, like many other times I have asked for help or for him to do a simple task recently, has become a teaching opportunity. He won't do it because he doesn't want me to always ask him to do things and never do them myself. He doesn't want me to be lazy. He doesn't want to run around after me. I feel like he is trying to control what I ask of him as a person and as a partner. It makes me not want to ask for help. It makes me feel the need to do everything on my own. This causes me to burn out and be in pain from my disability. What can I do? Every time I try and confront him about this behavior, he reiterates that he doesn't want me to become reliant on him and that he flat out is not doing what I have asked. I don't know if I'm just being dramatic or is this actually a problematic behavior from him. Too long didn't read. Partner will not help me and uses refusal as teaching mechanism so that I will not become reliant on him.